So when it comes to your relationships, do you ever feel like you're in a cycle that you literally cannot get out of? No matter how hard you try to break a certain habit or try to move past a certain pattern, it just seems impossible. I've been there. I know. Maybe you're the type that is super drawn to relationships and you might get a little bit clingy or jealous with your significant other. Or maybe you're the type that actually pushes other people away when you're in relationships and you don't let them get too close. Whatever the type and the pattern might be, it is all linked to what is called our attachment style. No matter if you're in a committed relationship or you're just dating, or even in our platonic friendships, our attachment style affects so many areas of our lives. And I've been diving into this for the past year or so, and I tell you, it has literally blown my mind. And I can't wait to share it with you guys today. So let's get into it. Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl Nay. I'm back here with another video. So excited to be here with you guys today. And if you're new here, welcome to my channel. And on this channel, we post videos about self-discovery and self-awareness to help you live a life that is intentional. So if this is something you're interested in, please hit the subscribe button and the bell so you know when we post. Now, in this video, we're gonna be talking about attachment styles. I've been wanting to talk about this for a very long time, but I got an email recently that actually sparked it and said, okay, it's time to do it now. So the email was from Marianne Mishka, and she said, I'm a big fan and I wanted to recommend you do some videos about love, boyfriend, girlfriend relationships. And anyone who knows me knows that I love the topic of love. I just love it. This channel is about personal growth, and relationships is a key part of that because each of us were meant to connect well with other people. So I'm also very passionate about talking about this topic as well. Now, this past year, I've done a ton of research to try to understand more about myself. And this topic right here is one of the most transformative things that I have learned so far in the past year. It has literally blown my mind in terms of just awareness about myself. And I hope that it does the same for you today. Now, what are attachment styles? Now, in a previous video, I talked about how as humans, we all have a desire for love and connection, for intimacy, to be seen, to be heard, and to be loved exactly as we are. We all have a desire for that. But there are certain things that keep us from actually obtaining it in the way that we want it. Now, psychologists have called this attachment theory. And through research, they've determined that our attachment stems from one of our earliest relationships. And that's a relationship that we've had with our caregivers or our parents growing up. So the research showed that the way that we related to our caregivers as children actually shows how we may relate and build relationships in our adult lives. So there are 4 different attachment styles. One of them is really good. It's a good one. And then the other 3 are the insecure ones. And a lot of us are in one of those 3 categories. And the goal here is that even if we are in one of these 3 insecure attachments, it can always be changed. It can always be changed. And the goal is to become more secure. So as I go through each one of these, I want you to think about which one you might be, and also which one some of your friends, your families, or even your partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, might be as well. I'm telling you, when I started learning about this, I started looking like, you see it everywhere. Once you learn it, like, you literally see it everywhere. And it's a beautiful thing because it literally gives us just more compassion for one another. So let's get into it. The 4 attachment styles. The first attachment style is the secure attachment. So as a child, the securely attached person gets a lot of positive reinforcement growing up. They feel like their needs are being met. They feel like they're valued for who they are. They feel like they're being seen and they're being heard. And the caregiver is consistent enough that the child knows what to expect from them. For example, when the child cries, maybe the caregiver comes and comforts them and nurtures them and values them and shows them that they're there to support them. And then they grow up feeling safe to express their needs because they grew up knowing that their needs would be met. And similarly, they also are very open to hearing the needs of other people and that they're also there to meet them as well. And they know that because it was modeled to them. Their parents or their caregivers likely met their own needs, but also met the needs of their children as well. So they were modeled this very good interpersonal connection as a child. So how do you know if you are securely attached? These might be some of your thoughts. I can depend on others. I feel safe to share my feelings. I am generally happy in relationships. I don't get jealous easily. My partner and I actually don't need to agree on everything for the relationship to work. I love my partner and I know my partner loves me. Seems simple, right? Now this is the goal. We all want to be securely attached. This safety, this feeling of just like security, feeling like you don't have to prove anything or feeling like you're not hiding anything either. This is what we all are aiming to be. All aiming to be the securely attached. And it is very, very, very possible to get this way. Even if you are not that, even if you're like, actually I don't relate to any of those that you just read, just know. It is possible. You might not feel this yet, but as you go through the process of healing and understanding and awareness about yourself, which is completely what this channel is about, you will get there. I guarantee it. Like, healing is possible. But before I talk about that, let's get into the other three. The insecure attachment styles. The first insecure attachment style is the anxious preoccupied or the anxiously attached. Now, the anxiously attached grew up in an environment where their caregiver was actually pretty stable. They were pretty attuned to their needs and they got a lot of their needs and emotional connection, all of that stuff fulfilled through their caregiver. But maybe as a child, you also kind of felt a little bit of inconsistency with it. So maybe when they were there, they were present. But then when they weren't, maybe they had a really crazy job that they were always had to be at or always had to be on calls when they were at home. Or maybe there was one caregiver that was extremely attuned to your needs and then there was another one that was completely emotionally shut off. Or maybe you grew up in a family where your parents had a lot of children, so they can only pay attention to your needs so often, but when they're with you, but they also have to pay attention to all the other children as well. It could be any one of these things, but the point is, as a child, your first thought is not gonna be, oh, you know, mom, dad, I know that they're working right now, but it's no biggie. I know they still love me. Like, they're like, you know, they have to work on weekends, they have to work every single night and have a babysitter, but no, they're not leaving me. They really do love me. They just have to pay the bills. You're not thinking that. What you're thinking is, what happened to my mom and dad? Why are they here sometimes and why are they not here the other times? Why are they super present with me? When they're here, they're like so present, so attuned, but then all of a sudden they're not anymore. What happened? What happened? As a child, it's very possible to internalize that and to view it as abandonment. And now, because they felt that even inkling of abandonment, they never want to feel abandoned again. And they do anything in their power, especially as they grow up into adult years, to keep that abandonment from happening. Now I want to pause here real quick because I know it is so easy, especially in our day and age, to now have this whole parent shaming or mom-dad shaming or whatever the case may be, especially when we talk about childhood wounds. It is so easy to go there. But that is not what this video is about. If you are to get anything from this video, it is to show compassion. That is the name of the game, compassion. Not just compassion for ourselves to understand how we are, compassion for our partners, but also compassion for our parents. We all have attachment styles because of where we were brought up, but guess what? Our parents also have attachment styles from the way that they're brought up or the trauma that was happening in their lives. So I just encourage you, as you are listening to this video, but also listen to other videos on the internet or wherever the case may be, please remember to have compassion for the people who raised you. No matter what circumstance you might have been placed in, how bad you might have felt they were, whatever the case may be, trauma really does have an impact on people more than you would even realize. More than you would realize. So I just want to make sure I put that disclaimer out there. All right, now let's get back to it. So with this anxious attachment style, we have a few wounds. And when I say wounds, I mean a couple of thoughts that constantly come up. So see if any of these seem a little bit familiar to you. Number one, I am or I will be abandoned. I am or will be excluded. I am rejected. I am disliked. I don't belong. I don't feel like being alone. I've been told I'm needy or high maintenance. I question whether my partner loves me as much as I love them. When my partner doesn't answer my phone call or text, I question whether they love me. When I feel anxious in a relationship, I immediately do something to get reassurance or attention. Now, this anxiously attached child constantly soothes through their caregiver. This type might often go out of their way to get close to people and actually sacrifice their wants, their needs, their desires, their feelings, all of that. None of that matters because I so badly just don't ever want you to leave again. So whatever it takes to get you never to leave again, I will do that as an anxiously attached person. Now, this person can also become jealous relatively easily because somebody going off and maybe speaking to someone else or being interested in someone else can mean that they could possibly leave them one day. So that jealousy can rise up fairly easily in this person. And they also put people on a pedestal, thinking, how are they so amazing? And I'm just like, I'm just dirt. Oh my God. That's the anxiously attached. Now, the second insecure attachment style actually swings all the way left, very different, and it's called the dismissive avoidance. Most children that grew up in a dismissive environment had most of their needs met. They had a roof over their head, they had food on the table, they were able to go to school and have maybe even activities at school, and a lot of their physical needs may have been met. But when it came to the emotional spectrum of things, it just wasn't a part of their normal upbringing. It could have been that they were probably told, hey, you know, we do not express emotions in this house, we don't do that. Or maybe it was as simple as them just never seeing their caregivers cry or their parents cry. Or maybe they didn't express their affection to you, or you never heard them really say, I love you, or whatever the case may be. That could have been your norm. But something that I said before is that even though we might have grown up in an environment like that, it doesn't negate the humanity that we have of all having emotions and all having the need for love and connection. It doesn't negate that. It is completely natural. But because if this was you, it was pushed off for so long and suppressed for so long, you might not feel safe ever expressing it or asking for it. It could have been because your parents were dismissive avoidants themselves. Maybe they didn't really know how to express their emotions themselves, or maybe something traumatic happened in their lives which made them emotionally unavailable. Either way, whatever the case may be, as a child, we don't always recognize that that is the reason, as I expressed in the anxiously preoccupied. We're not thinking, okay, my parents, they're going through something right now. They still love me. They still love me, even though they've never said it. They do. I know it. They do. We're not thinking that. We're more thinking, okay, I see that maybe other people or even on TV, I see that their parents say that, but for some reason, I'm not getting that in my household. So is it because I'm not worthy of love? Could that be it? Is it because I'm defective? There's something wrong with me? Everyone else is getting it, but I'm not getting it? What? We start to internalize those things, especially if we're in an environment like this. Internalize them and think that there must be something wrong with me. And a lot of dismissively attached adults now have those same core wounds. I'm defective. I am unworthy of love. Connection is scary. There is something wrong with me. And it breaks my heart because a lot of it is rooted in shame. And it's rooted in shame because if you can imagine as a child, we grow up knowing that we have this emotional part of ourselves. And maybe we go up to our caregiver, and if the caregiver is completely blocked off to that and they don't want to have anything to do with emotions for whatever the reason may be, that can be embarrassing. You go to them, maybe you're crying or whatever the case may be as like a toddler, whatever. That can bring shame to you yourself. And then guess what? You don't want to feel that anymore, so you stop asking. But it's a catch-22 because the fact that you stop asking doesn't mean that you stop feeling. But because you've suppressed them for so long, you now don't even know how to express it, and that piles on top of the shame you've already had. Not feeling like, I don't even know how to, what is this? I don't even know how to express my emotions. That already piles on top of the shame. So it's literally for the dismissive avoidant, there is shame on top of shame, on top of shame, on top of shame. And if this is you, I so get it. And my heart is just healing is possible, is just what I want to say. But the dismissive avoidant grows up with fears of connecting with people. They don't feel like that's the safe thing to do because they were constantly rejected as a child. Commitment doesn't seem like the fun thing for them. So here's some thoughts for dismissive avoidance. See if any of these sound familiar to you or about anyone you know. I'm fine on my own. I do not see the point of talking about my feelings. I don't think I'm the marrying type. I'm not gonna change for anyone. You better like me or leave me. I need time to myself. A lot of it. Relationships take a lot of work, and I'm not sure I'm up for it. People will always let me down. Now, I think it's important to realize that if you're in a relationship with somebody like this, or if you're this person yourself, that it is not your fault that you might feel this way, that you might feel defective, or even for the anxiously attached type, that you might feel like you always want to be with somebody, you're afraid of abandonment. It's not your fault. Your mind has been trained to react in this way to relationships and connection. But as I've said before, there is hope. You don't need to stay in this attachment style. You don't need to stay in these patterns in your relationships. And I also want to say that for this type, or for any type really, but specifically for this one, adult wounds could also play a factor. Now, I know we talked a lot about the childhood wounds, but adult wounds could as well. So say that you got into a really bad breakup, or maybe you lost a loved one in your adult life, or lost a loved one to maybe they passed away. This could also create you locking down to your emotions and becoming a little bit more dismissive, not attaching to your emotions at all. So our childhood really does impact us a lot, but you could have easily have been an anxious or even an insecure child, and something happened in your adult life and it changed it. And that just shows how our attachments can change depending on our circumstances, and also depending on the work that we do intentionally to change them as well. And the last attachment style, it is the third insecure attachment style, and it's called the fearful avoidant. Or in some other places, they call it the disorganized attachment style or the anxious avoidant. The fearful avoidant actually doesn't have any consistency at all in their childhood. And they actually are swinging between the dismissive side and also the anxious side. As a fearful avoidant, things were a little bit more inconsistent. And this could have been because maybe you grew up in a house that was full of trauma or full of turmoil. Maybe your parents were constantly fighting, or maybe there was divorce in the household, or maybe there was alcoholic abuse or substance abuse, or whatever the case may be. So when that stuff happens, you might not know exactly what to expect on a day-to-day. Are my parents gonna be happy today? Are they not gonna be happy today? Are they gonna be maybe drunk today? Are they not? Because it's such an unsteady or unpredictable environment, you actually start to become very, very aware and attuned to your environment and to the people around you. So this is where the child becomes extremely hyper vigilant, where maybe they're looking at their caregiver to see, okay, are they smiling? Okay, good, they're smiling. Okay, I can go and talk to them. Or, oh no, he's like reading his book today. Oh no, I know whenever he reads that he's not in a good mood and next he's gonna yell at me later. Or maybe it's, okay, I see the bottle on his nightstand. All right, that means that it might not be safe to go in there and talk to him today. Whatever the case may be, you start to become very aware of every single thing, and this means that. When it's this, it means that. When it's that, it means this. And you almost start to control you're trying to control your environment as much as possible. Because there's very little predictability, you try to control as much as possible. So then you make relations. This means that. And a lot of fearful avoidants have very, very, very black and white thinking. And this might sound so simple. It's like, well, how does that relate to my relationships or just my life in general as an adult? A lot. This affects them in adult life because then that same unpredictability and unsteadiness that they felt as a child, they're now mimicking as an adult. And if you've ever been in a relationship with a fearful avoidant, or you are one yourself, you know, you might see this hot and cold tendency where the fearful avoidant person might be super attuned to all of your needs and want to have everything to do with you and love the relationship and all of this stuff. And then all of a sudden, they back off and they want to have nothing to do with you. They don't want to be friends. They don't want to do anything ever again. And that's because they're mimicking the unpredictability that they saw in their childhood. They want relationship, they want connection, but at the smallest, even tiniest glimpse of rejection, this person pulls away. They don't want to have anything to do with it anymore because now you have the possibility to hurt me and I don't want to be hurt anymore. So you can stay over there. I don't even need this anymore. And there's just so much in all of the attachment styles, but this one is definitely close to home for me. I can say that for sure. And yeah, it's a lot to deal with where you feel like you want connection so much, but you're also extremely afraid of it at the same time. I can make a whole video on this. So if you're interested, let me know, let me know, let me know. Now, because this type is very aware, they also become usually very good caregivers, and they usually want to take care of everything because, as I said, they want to make sure they're controlling everything. So if I'm like kind of like making things good and making things better, then maybe it'll be a little bit more safe for me. They become very good at soothing other people or trying to care for other people a lot. But if this sounds like you, here's some thoughts that might sound familiar. I want to be close, but I'm afraid of getting hurt. My partner is so unpredictable. I need to constantly be on guard so I don't get hurt. I want a relationship, but I also really don't feel safe in them. And when I say safe, I mean emotionally safe, not really physically safe. You're not afraid that the person, maybe you are, but it's not typically afraid that the person is going to hit you or be physically violent. It's more emotional safe is what I'm talking about. Relationships are confusing and always let me down. My relationships feel like roller coasters. Some days they are amazing. And then other days, it couldn't be more low. When I feel hurt, I push the person away so fast before they could ever do it to me. Oh boy. So some of the core wounds that this person has, they share some of what the dismissive has, which is the defective and feeling unworthy core wounds, but they also share what the anxious has with feeling like they'll be abandoned or feeling like they'll be rejected. They have both of those, but they also have a very, very, very big wound of trust. Feeling like they can't trust people. Feeling like they can't trust people in relationships. And that's because they felt like they couldn't really trust their environments. They didn't know what to expect as a child. So one of the very big core wounds is, I am betrayed. All of these attachment styles, whether you're in a committed relationship or dating or whatever the case may be, they all require patience and compassion and grace for one another. And if you are one of these, it also requires grace for yourself. Absolutely. A part of the healing journey is to accept yourself. That is huge part of the healing process is to say, it's to practice self-love and to practice speaking to yourself kindly and to say, all right, I know that you might have this and this and this pattern that I'm not a fan of, but it's okay. I see why you might have gotten that. I see where that might have come from. And guess what? So-and-so, you can insert your name there. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this. And I would be honored to continue to walk you guys through this process of healing. If you guys are interested in more attachment style videos, let me know. I am so passionate about this topic, as well as every other topic that I talk about on this channel. Emotional intelligence, mental health, all of that. But I'm super passionate about this because I know how transformative it has been and continues to be for me on my healing journey. And just my journey in general to discover more about myself and understand why I act the way that I did. Oh, I would love to tell you my story as a fearful avoidant. So, oh man, I just love it. So yeah, if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below as well. And also let me know what attachment style you feel like you have. If you're secure, let us know. Let us know. And if you're any one of these, also let us know. We would love to hear it. Till the next one, guys, I can't wait to see you guys again. I hope you have an amazing day and week. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.